You know, you can lose weight in a healthy way. It doesn't need to be so extreme. And I don't know how else to explain that for me and for many, many other people, that is simply untrue.
No, what you're about to say is simply untrue.
Because the second I start ignoring my body's cues, it's over. The instant my body tells me it is hungry, and I choose either not to feed it or to underfeed it, which is what a calorie deficit is.
Yes, she did. And that is a moronic way of thinking. By the way, a calorie deficit is the state of being under the calorific amount that is needed to maintain a specific weight.
It knows it's time for famine. It goes into scarcity mode.
What a big fat liar. If you follow her reasoning, everyone's body goes into famine and scarcity mode when we sleep. And again, following that same reasoning, you understand why she and people in the fat acceptance movement are obese and morbidly obese, because she just gave it away. They are always eating, except of course when they starve in their sleep. Or maybe they don't even sleep anymore, or they're just hooked to feeding machines in their sleep.
It thinks I don't have access to food, and as a result, my body turns on all the alarms to try to get me to eat as much as humanly possible so that I can survive this famine.
That's just not how it works.
Nope.
What this fat individual is doing is regurgitating all the garbage that she's been telling herself to feel good about her failures and poor choices in an effort to convert more people to look like her so she will feel even better about her own failures and poor choices.
Yes.
Your body does not go into starvation mode if you stop eating for, say, 1 hour. In fact, the human body can survive without food for anywhere from 1 to 3 months, depending on the surrounding circumstances.
And I want you to imagine what it's actually like to go through your day with your body screaming at you that it's starving.
Shut the fuck up. You've never experienced starvation in your position of privilege.
Nope.
If you had, you will have a different language on the matter, and you will also know the pain associated with it.
Fuck.
I know because I experienced famine and starvation at one point in my life. And no, that was not from dieting, because unlike what the idiots in the fat acceptance are trying to make people believe, dieting is not starvation. And making such claims is not just reckless, but also an insult to people experiencing actual famine around the world. People who don't have the privilege to eat when they will want or at all, and have to resort to ants and cockroaches if they're lucky to keep going.
And you just have to pretend that that's not happening. It's consuming all of your thought space and all of your energy, but you just have to pretend it's not real.
Wow. Thank you for letting the world know that you indeed don't have fortitude and enough love for yourself and your body to want that screaming body of yours to be as healthy as it could possibly be. Because if you did, you would not be trying to convince yourself and others that losing weight is not under your control and you're comfortable in your skin.
There is no way to casually pursue weight loss when you're in that state.
It's amazing how much gymnastics she and her kinds are willing to do to comfort their own delusion. And this only happens when you are in a situation of privilege like she is. Privilege is having so much food that you become its slave. It dictates your every move and your entire life. That's pathetic.
So when people talk about how weight loss is not an option for them or weight loss is harmful for them, just believe them.
Weight loss is harmful if you're already underweight, and you, my friend, are not.
Nope.
Someone who's obese and says weight loss is not for them is just lazy and weak.
Some people's biggest fear is being fat.
You should be afraid to be fat.
And I'm sorry, but if your worst fear is looking like me, you have some bigger problems in your life.
You see, when you carry more fat than your body is meant to, you are forcing your heart to work harder than it is supposed to. And that is just one reason why being fat sucks. High blood pressure, which is also referred to hypertension, is this condition I just described. Your heart pumps your blood faster through the blood vessels, which causes strain to your heart and damages your blood vessels.
Blood pressure depends on many things, including how much blood the heart is pumping and the diameter of the arteries the blood is moving through. Generally, the more blood that's pumped and the narrower the artery, the higher the pressure is.
This in turn increases your risk of heart attack, kidney disease, stroke, and death. Yikes. Excess fat also causes you to develop osteoarthritis. This is a long-lasting health problem that causes pain, swelling, and reduced mobility because your joints just can't support you anymore with all that pressure that you're imposing on them and their cartilage with all this fat that you keep accumulating. Being fat raises your chances of developing type 2 diabetes. With this condition, your blood sugar gets too high, which in turn increases your risk of developing nerve damages, heart disease, stroke, and also death. Oh, and before you die, you may lose a limb or two, sometimes starting with a finger off here and there. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound appealing at all.
Nope.
Sleep apnea. This is a condition in which you go without breathing for short periods of time in your sleep. Left untreated, that time increases, which also increases your chances of dying in your sleep because your brain would have gone without oxygen for a too long period of time. None of the conditions that I just mentioned sounds good, and most of them can be avoided. How? By controlling the quantities of the food and drinks that you consume. Eating more than you need will get you fat. Though you may be happy with your fat, it doesn't make you healthy nonetheless.
Nope.
And before you come at me with this being fat doesn't mean being unhealthy nonsense, understand that just because you are not experiencing symptoms of any illness doesn't mean that you do not have it yet. Being fat is not healthy and everybody should be afraid to be fat. Being fat has nothing to do with beauty or intelligence. It has everything to do with health. You are digging your grave with each day that passes by with you getting yourself fatter. But sure, continue to ignore your body's cry for help and keep trying to convince yourself that you're healthy. You're only lying to yourself, and it is sad to see.
The dislike of touching fat people is fat phobic.
No one in their right mind would want to be touched by strangers. Listen, you shouldn't go around touching anyone regardless of their body sizes. It's assault for doing so without consent. Now, if you're fat and demand people touch you, then you're sick. Touch yourself.
And also we have to be clear that this isn't fat people going out of their way to try and invade other people's spaces. We are just trying to exist in public space.
No one said you shouldn't exist or that you're going out of your way to invade people's space.
Nope.
Regardless of your body size, you're expected to stay in your lane and adapt according to your own body size, for the world doesn't owe you anything.
Weight and body size is considered an immutable characteristic, which means it's something that we don't actually have control over.
Wrong. Go read some book and educate yourself. You have control over your weight unless you have some underlying condition and or use some medications that affect your weight. You're obese because you eat more calories than you need every single day. First law of thermodynamics. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. If you eat more calories than you need daily, then that surplus gets stored as fat each day. The less you use, the more it accumulates. And since you don't use it as fuel for workout, guess what? You just gain weight more and more. You do have control on your weight. If you monitor the quality and quantity of your meals and drinks and make better choices with what goes into your body, you will also notice that your weight will be more manageable. It all starts with you. So you're obese because you choose to be, and you make that choice every day.
In the same way that folks don't have control over their sexuality or race or ethnicity. They're things that are intrinsic to our being.
Your weight is not of them. Nope. No one is born obese. Therefore, obesity is a choice.
We can't control how much space that we take up in the world.
Yes, you can. And I just debunked your claim.
Fat people know how much other people, especially on planes, do not want to be in physical contact with us. We can feel it. We can see it on your faces. Sometimes we can read it on your phones when you're texting people about us.
Your level of insecurity is appalling. No one cares that you as a fat person are just standing or sitting or doing whatever. Heck, regardless of how big you may be, most people won't notice you unless you do something that has direct impact on them. You're not the center of the universe. Chill. So, if you think others are talking about you or looking at you a certain way, that's a you problem. And only you can fix that shit.
So here are some things that would be a really great practice for thin folks and even other fat folks who haven't dealt with their fat phobia that you can do to actively show up for fat people in these spaces that cause a lot of distress for us.
Oh, please tell me how I can cater to your big sense of entitlement.
Use your human intuition when you're real life in these spaces.
How about you use your own human intuition and attend to your own personal issues rather than demand that others bend over to accommodate you?
If you happen to be sitting next to a fat person on a plane and you notice that we are contorting our bodies to try and take up as little space as possible, you can let us know that it's okay to make ourselves comfortable.
No one asks you to make yourself uncomfortable. Nope. If you're too big that you're uncomfortable in a plane seat, that is a you problem. Or you got yourself to that situation. Either book as many seats you need to be comfortable, or choose another means to travel.
You could volunteer to lift up the armrest.
No. Armrests are there for more comfort, and anyone is welcome to lift them or not. I'm definitely not going to sacrifice the comfort I paid for just so you could be cheap and cry about a situation that you created yourself.
Nope. Don't make it a thing when we ask for a seatbelt extender.
Again, no one cares, and if you think anyone does, that's your own insecurity talking to you.
If a fat person is in a middle seat, that is so f***ing dreaded for us. No, it's dreaded.
For the third time, no one cares about you but themselves. Any sane person boarding a plane knows that they're getting the level of comfort that they paid for, and that is one seat for them. If you're too big that you take more than one seat, it is your responsibility to make sure that you don't take a space that you didn't pay for, someone else's space. It is common sense. And if you don't have it, that is a you problem.
And you have an opportunity to switch a seat with a fat person so that they can be in a seat that's more comfortable for them, please do that.
How about you pay for a better seat yourself? Wow, the nerve. So I'm here booking my trip in advance and purchasing my ticket after selecting my seat. And then I come and give that seat to you so you will be more comfortable? Choosing beggar match? The fat acceptance movement and the people in it couldn't be more ridiculous than this. They get themselves to their obesity and then demand that the world bends over for them. Dear fat acceptance and fat activists, your weight is a result of your own poor choices. No one is saying that you shouldn't exist, but if you're going to do that and disrespect other people's personal space, then that's where the issue is. The world does not owe you anything. Nope. If you want more comfort, then you should pay for it. Want to be comfortable in an airplane? then either fly business or first class, the seats are wider in those classes, or pay more than one seat in coach, or do travel by other means. You make the choice to be bigger than airplane seats. Therefore, you must also suffer the consequences of your own choices rather than demand that others sacrifice their own comfort just so you will get to enjoy that comfort for free. Stop being a choosing beggar and make the necessary adjustments for yourself already. You've made that bed. Now sleep in it. Thanks for watching, besties, and remember to train mean.